We're good. Okay. Okay.
We had a little connection malfunction. Hopefully it's going well.
Yeah, hopefully I think we're going good though. But guys, I think this is like I said, this will be his second time representing Team USA at the Paralympics. I am thrilled to welcome Mr. John Kusku to the Blind Spot. John, welcome to the Blind Spot, man. How's it going?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing really good today.
Awesome, man. So I did get that right. This will be your second Paralympics, right?
You got it. We took a silver medal in Rio 5 years ago, and we're hoping to better it by one this time in Tokyo.
Come on, man. Let's not use hope. We're planning on it, man. I know. I know how hard you guys train, and look, man, I always say the hungriest medal is the hungriest people are the ones that get the silver medal, because they know that there's one spot higher they can climb on the podium, man. So I know that's been eating at you guys for the last 5 years now. But yeah, John, so let's just give the audience and the viewers a little bit of a background on you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's your eye condition, and how did you find your way to the sport of goalball?
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm 36 today, but when we get to Tokyo, I'll be 37. And
right.
I was maybe 5 years old. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, which is a genetic retinal eye disease that's hereditary, that causes me to have no peripheral vision at all. When I was younger, I could see probably about 10 to 15 degrees of vision. And as I get older, it caves in. So my vision, my tunnel is so small now that it's unmeasurable, probably somewhere around half of a degree. In that tiny little pinpoint, I do have pretty clear vision that
Okay.
If I focus on something and if it's got good contrast, I can even read print. But I tend to listen or use Braille for most of my input.
Right. Awesome. So have you always been like an athletic person, or like when did you kind of start gravitating toward sport, and tell us a little bit about how the journey to goalball came about?
Good questions. Thanks. So when I was young, I really loved playing sports with the neighbors, and I was on like a soccer team. And we used to play a lot of driveway rollerblade hockey. And as I got older, and the kids in my neighborhood got faster and better, and I got blinder and blinder, it became not as much fun. I would lose the ball in the grass, and I wasn't able to find it to get it back into play. And then eventually I just kind of stopped playing because it wasn't fun anymore. If I skated as fast as I wanted to, I would hurt myself or hurt somebody else or break something. So I needed another avenue. And luckily I found it. The Michigan Blind Athletic Association has a sports education camp run out of Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo. And I was able to fall in love with goalball there. It actually happened when the hardest thrower at the camp threw a ball right down my line, hit me square in the nose, and the blood started spurting. And so that's kind of what made me fall in love with goalball. But because it's a sport where we all wear the eye shades, I can play as hard and as fast as I want to play, and I'm not going to hurt somebody else unless they're on the other team, because it's the nature of the game. So it was really a great outlet for me to continue my passion to be athletic in a way that made sense for me to do. I've also run 4 marathons. I ran Detroit twice and Boston twice, but that was just kind of a little foray into the endurance games. Goalball is really where my passion exists.
Nice. I love it. I laugh that you get smashed in the face with a ball, and it sounds like you got like a broken nose or something from that. And that's the thing that makes you fall in love with the sport. That's awesome. So you said you were introduced to it through the Michigan Blind Athletic Association. Do you still live and train in Michigan?
Yeah, I live just northwest of Detroit in Commerce Township, and I still work very closely with the MBAA. help us with our Michigan goalball team, the Michigan Omega. And I also try to help out with that sports camp as much as I can. In fact, tomorrow I'll be doing a virtual goalball learning opportunity because we weren't able to have the sports camp in person. So
Awesome.
My wife and I will be running that virtual event tomorrow for the MBAA, helping local kids learn about goalball, hopefully get interested in it so that when we can have in-person events that, they'll be desiring to do so.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. So, you said your wife is very involved, and I believe that, if I remember correctly, your wife is a goalball coach and was a goalball referee, or like, tell us, like, how did she get interested in goalball because of you, or was she interested in goalball before she got saddled with you? Like, how's that go around?
Good questions. So my wife and I actually went to the same elementary, middle, high school, and colleges. So she was 1 year behind me. We had a lot of friends in common, but it wasn't until she came to Western Michigan University that we became, closer friends, and then in a relationship. And through that process, she got involved in goalball. At the time, the place we needed people the most was referees. So she became a USABA goalball referee. And eventually, the needs and the desires of her and of us changed, and she has become our coach of our Michigan Omega team. So she'll be coaching us at a tournament in 2 weeks in Nashville.
Awesome.
So we're really excited to have her there. She has a lot of knowledge about the game, having been around it for like 20 years, having run the Michigan tournament for like 10 years, and, watching me play and listening to me talk to her and my teammates about goalball every day. She's very knowledgeable about the sport. She knows what to look for to help us be as successful as we can be.
That's awesome. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about, so I mean, you train, you're a busy guy. Let's just put it that way. So you hold down a full-time job. You're is it a math and physics teacher?
You got it.
So you're a math and physics teacher. You're about to go to your second Paralympics. You got to spend some time with the wife. You do all this stuff. What does a daily and weekly training cycle look like for you, and how do you juggle and manage all of your various tasks that you gotta complete, especially to compete at such a high level and to be selected to represent USABA and Team USA at the Paralympics? I mean, how do you juggle it all? And what does your training look like for that?
Yeah, good questions. Let's add in, I have a 7-year-old as well into that mix of things that are going on in life. So.
Yeah, I forgot about that part too. Sorry. Yeah. So even more impressive. So tell us the secrets.
So in the normal times, I get a ride to work. The school I teach at is only about an 8-minute drive away. So coworker picks me up in the morning. We go to work today for the work day. I get my teaching done, which is a thrill. I love the teaching that I get to do. I teach kids who are learning career and technical education. So they come to learn a skill or a trade, and then I work with them in the math and physics to help them be successful in that.
That's awesome. I love hearing that.
And then head home around 3:00. I have a paratransit that costs me $2 to get home each day. And then all of my strength and conditioning at home, or workout stuff, is at home. I have an area in my basement that's about 6 meters by 2 meters that's cleared with a mattress at one end, so I can do all my goalball throwing and diving in that area. And I have a squat rack with all the heavy weights and dumbbells and bands and an exercise bike and a treadmill. So I'm able to follow the workouts from our strength and conditioning coach. Right now, that's Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do the heavy lifting, things like, back squat and lunges and pull-ups, things like that. Yep. And then on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is supposed to be the skill work. So that's when I spend a lot of time throwing and diving, and I do a goalball simulation workout. So I do all that workout usually in the afternoons, right when I get home from work.
Okay.
And then get my son off the bus around 4:30, and then have some family time. And on the weekends, usually about one weekend a month, head down to Fort Wayne for training with the rest of the team, or as many of the team who could come as possible.
Okay. Awesome. So you do get the opportunity to head down to Fort Wayne and train with the guys
Yeah,
that you're going to be battling alongside.
yeah,
Because because one of the things that really that struck me was there's so many people that live and train out of the training center at the training site at Fort Wayne, but you're doing a lot of stuff on your own. So being able to train in a team sport, when you're separated from the team, how challenging has that been for you over the the course of the the years? And do you get to at least get on a goalball court and play with some locals there in Michigan from time to time?
Yeah, good questions. Turnstone, the center in Fort Wayne, the Paralympic site that we train at, it has been a really cool development that started kind of around 2015 or so. Before that, I've been on Team USA since 2009. We didn't have anything like that. We had no centralized location. We just had guys spread around the country, and we would get together as much as we could, maybe at Colorado Springs or Lake Placid. Sometimes we go down to Birmingham to Lakeshore Foundation. So the guys who've been around for a while, we're very used to having to train on our own, practice with our local practices. We have our Michigan practice with my Michigan teammates, and then getting together as much as we can. And so now having Turnstone has been great. I'm able to stay in really close contact with the coaches and the players who are there. So I know what's going on. I'm involved in, the training that they're doing. I'm making sure I stay on top of the things so that when I get the opportunity to step on the court, I'm already in. I'm doing exactly what they're doing. I'm right in step with them.
That's awesome. I love it. So let's go ahead and let's talk just very briefly about we all have like major people that that have been influences in our lives, whether that be our sporting life or just in our general day-to-day life. Who would you say has been kind of some of your bigger influencers throughout the course of your life? That could be in the sport of goalball, or just how you've been able to navigate life as as someone who's blind or visually impaired.
Yeah, almost all of my real big influencers are through goalball. I was, in my middle school age, I was like a lost puppy. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to identify as blind. I didn't want to use a cane. I didn't really care about Braille. And then, around age 13, I went to that Michigan Blind Athletic Association sports education camp. And, I would say my first big inspiration was Paul Ponchella. He's totally blind. He was a professor at WMU, and he with his wife Sue started that sports education camp. And he worked with me. He said, hey, you can do these sports. You can play all these games. You can run track. You could go play soccer. You can't let them tell you can't do that, because you can. So I guess he would be number one. And then number two is a lot of guys who are just slightly older than me, going through a lot of the same stuff, that weren't afraid to be blind. They weren't afraid to use their canes. They weren't afraid to run into something.
Yep.
If they knocked something over, they didn't say sorry. They said, well, I guess that shouldn't have been in my way, huh? And like those guys were such inspiration to me. And one of them got to be my teammate for many years on Team USA, and that's Joe Hamilton. He just fearless, unintimidatable. And so to see that when I was 13, 14 years old, it really inspired me to just say, okay, well, guess what, guys, I am blind. I do have to use a cane, especially at night. I am going to knock stuff over, and I do feel bad, but it's just the way that it is. And so I would say those are my biggest inspirations right there.
Love it. So, oh man, I got just so many So many questions. So you've been competing for Team USA for what, 12, 13 years now. What are I mean, so many memories gotta stick out to you. What, tell us about some of those, like some of those highs, and is there a goal ball match, or a series of plays, or anything that just kind of sticks out in your mind, like where everything just kind of came together and clicked, and you guys were just rolling on cloud nine? Like, tell us about some of the highs that you've
Yeah, absolutely.
experienced.
So we failed to qualify for London in 2012, and so
Oh,
coming away from that, we kind of had a lot of motivation to qualify as early as possible. And the first opportunity to do so was the World Championships in 2014 in Finland.
okay.
At that point, Joe Hamilton, myself, and Tyler Marin were the starting three players and played most of the minutes at that tournament.
Mhm.
And we lost to Finland in the semifinal. So
Oh,
the top three teams make it to the Paralympics. That's the first place to qualify. And
okay.
so we had to beat Lithuania in order to qualify to go to Rio. And that's a team that traditionally has done very well against us. We have very few numbers in the win column and lots of numbers in the loss column against that team. So we walked into that game and we were, really hoping for the best, but we weren't really feeling super confident. And we came out with a 4-2 victory out of that game with me, Joe, and Tyler, and that was incredible. They were throwing balls in the second half that we were grabbing with our fingertips, and they were clearing us by like 2 feet, but we'd reach up and just snag it with an arm. So we were very much in sync in that game. Had a very few very pivotal plays involving some penalty shots that kept us in that game, and we were able to pull through and qualify for Rio at our first opportunity. So that was a very powerful moment. And then I would say every single moment in Rio, every game, the game would end. The crowd, our smallest crowd was like 4,000. Our semifinal against Brazil down there were probably 10,000 people in the crowd. So pretty much every game I walked off the court completely in tears, just rolling down my face, just so much emotion left out on that floor.
Wow, dude, that's awesome. And I was it did you guys face Lithuania in the finals in
We
Rio?
did. They beat us for gold in Rio.
Oh, but if I remember correctly, you guys are coming off a tournament win over Lithuania just a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, so we traveled to Lithuania about a month ago, and
Huh?
we split into two teams, and our USA 1 squad was victorious in that gold medal game against Lithuania.
Awesome.
The first time that
Awesome.
had happened at that tournament in years.
Wow. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So is give us a rundown. Like I mean, obviously Team USA, you guys, silver medal in 2016. You're coming back. You guys just the one huge goalball tournament that we've had in 2021. You guys are wearing the target on your back now. So are you who's gunning for us, man? Is Lithuania coming for us? Is China, Brazil? I mean, who's our rivals, and who do we got to who's John Kusku gonna make sure that he's scoring lots of goals on?
Yeah, good question. So at the Paralympic competition, they split the 10 teams into two pools. So we will square up against Brazil, Lithuania, Algeria, and the home team of Japan in our pool. And so Brazil, they definitely have a huge target on us because we knocked them out of their home games 5 years ago, beating them in the semifinal. And since then, they've thrown a lot of fire at us every time we've squared up. So we're going to have a very, very tough game against them. Lithuania, the same deal. I think they still think back to that 2014 defeat. I don't think they like that one. I'm sure they don't like that loss 4 weeks ago. So
For sure.
they're going to be shooting for blood. And then we got the home team. So they got their home crowd just announced. They're going to be allowed to have domestic people. I can't think of the right word. Spectators. There we go.
There it is.
So
there it is.
I think we're gonna, when we play against Japan, there's gonna be a huge crowd there to support that team. And then Algeria, the final team in our pool, they're just a wild card. We have almost no video of them because we don't get to play them very often, being part of the African continent.
Okay.
So that's our pool. We'll probably come out of there. We'll have a quarterfinal. On the other side, probably Germany is the biggest powerhouse over there, but Turkey has always done a very good job. We lost to Turkey in the round robin in Rio, so we want to come back. If we have to quarterfinal against them, we want to make sure that we don't come out in that game flat on our heels. We need to come out gunning.
All right. I like it. I can already hear you getting fired up, man. Dude, I love it. I'm getting fired up, ready to dial in and watch some goalball competition for sure.
Yeah.
But hey, let's I mean, so we've talked about some super awesome highs, but look, man, there's been some, you've mentioned a few lows. But like, let's not dwell too much on the lows, but how have you bounced back from those low times or those low points, or for lack of a better term, let's call them, how do you bounce back from your failures?
Yeah, good question. I have a very good memory, in the sense that I tend to forget the low lows pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, we got knocked out of the 2019 qualification tournament in Fort Wayne in our quarterfinal game. So losing that game meant we didn't qualify for Tokyo. And I honestly can't even remember which game it was that we got knocked out. And I'm pretty sure that Lithuania was the culprit, but I have a very good memory for forgetting some specifics and just sticking to the things that I have power to change. I'll remember a ball that cleared me. I'll remember a ball that scored my corner, so that I can remember, okay, you got to do better, got to get to those balls. But I tend to forget who threw it. I tend to forget which game it's in. So I think that's one of my tactics, is to remember the specifics that I can have some control over and forget everything else.
I think that's pretty sound advice. I'm a triathlete, and my coach always tells us, he's like, you can't control what anyone else is doing out there on the race course, but you can control how you can respond and how you can bounce back. So guys, everybody out there, take note. Whether you're a triathlete, a swimmer, a cyclist, a runner, a goalball, blind soccer, any sport, it's you control what you are. You have control over what you have. So essentially, like, you control the controllables, and everything else will fall into place. Is that's what I'm hearing from you, John? Is that right?
Yeah, and I shuffle all that under the rug and forget about it because I can't do anything about it. It's gone.
Love it. Awesome, man. Well, let's have a little. Let's throw it over to our. Let's throw it over to our producer extraordinaire, Bill. We got any? I know people have got to be burning to ask some questions of John here. Do we have any fan questions as of yet? Otherwise, we'll move into some lightning round questions and find out some fun facts about John.
Yeah, no, we do have a couple questions, Kyle.
All right, let's go ahead and let's use John as a dartboard, guys. Let's hit him with some questions.
All right, first one comes from George, and he wants to know about Camp T, and if you play the horn every morning to get the guys going like you used to at Camp T.
Yeah, I know who this guy is. So Camp T, Camp Tuscaloosa, is a camp in Greenville, Michigan that I fell in love with as a teenager, and ended up being a counselor, an assistant director, and now a consultant for camp. And they actually just built a recreation center, the Oak Recreation Center, so that we can play goalball at Camp T. And it's a beautiful building. It's got a beautiful Terraflex floor, and it is pretty much ready for the invasion of goalball. So I'm very excited to head back to camp, hopefully play Reveille and taps like in the old days, get to play goalball while doing all my other favorite camp activities.
Oh, that's a goalball specific facility that they built essentially.
Yeah,
Or that they're dedicated.
It's multi-purpose. It can be used for lots of stuff. There's even going to be a basketball hoop mounted, but the building, the size of the building, the flooring, everything was tailored to make sure goalball would work in that spot.
Wow,
and that's
awesome.
We have a ribbon cutting ceremony next week on Wednesday. It'll be live on the internet next week, Wednesday, 12 o'clock Eastern, noon Eastern. We have a ribbon cutting for that facility.
Awesome. Bill, I know we got some other questions out there, so let's continue to hit John with some questions.
Yeah, Ernst wants to know what national championships that does the U.S. have over the year. So let's assume it's a normal non-pandemic year. What does the goalball schedule look like in the U.S.?
Yeah, so USABA runs a really nice sequence of regional tournaments. So there's usually one in the Portland, Oregon area, and then down in Arizona, there's a tournament. And then we host the Midwest Regional, usually in Michigan. In 2020, it was actually in Columbus. And then we've got an Eastern Regional in New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. A Southern Regional down in Atlanta, and then Nationals kind of moves around. Lately, it's tended to be at Turnstone and Fort Wayne. And then on top of that, Canada runs some tournaments that a lot of us U.S. players go up to. So we tend to go up to a tournament in Montreal in February, and then they have that Vancouver Grand Slam tournament. It's usually in March in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Ooh, that's a lot of. How many tournaments do you normally go to
a year,
good John?
Question. So I usually I miss out on some of those West Coast ones just because they're so far. Mm-hmm. So I usually play in the Midwest Regional, the Eastern Regional, the Southeast Regional, and Nationals in the U.S. So it's usually 4 a year. And then I usually go to Montreal and Vancouver in Canada. So 2 a year up there in Canada.
Okay. And then is World Championships held every year, or is it every other year? Because I know some sports do it differently.
Right. In goalball, our World Championships is every 4 years. So it's 2 years opposite the Olympics.
Okay.
And the Paralympics.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Cool,
and then we'll have a regional championship every 2 years. So kind of the odd number years, we'll have a regional Americas championship, North and South America together in one region around the odd years.
Awesome. Bill, any other questions from the fans?
We have 2 more. First one's from Armando from California. He says he has LCA and wants to get started in playing goalball, and he has the dream of playing goalball. He wants to make that come true. So what would your advice be, John?
Yeah, you got to find people that play goalball and find people who want to play goalball. So if you're up in the Bay Area, I know they have some stuff going on in Sacramento. If you're down near LA, they got some stuff down there that they're doing. So find people that you can get together with, that you can travel to tournaments with and make it happen. That's the key. You got to get the people who want to do it.
Awesome. Surround yourself with the right people and things will happen, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the last one from Amanda just wants to know what your training regimen looks like.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit, but it depends if we're in season or out of season. But for the most part, 2 to 4 days a week, I am lifting weights to build power and strength. And 2 to 4 days a week, I'm trying to do the goalball specific stuff, throwing and diving, the memory mechanics that you need to be successful with any sport if you want to be at the highest level. And so this sport, it's a very power-based sport. So a lot of those big power lifts like, squats and lunges and things like that, that's what we really need in goalball. Not as much the cardio of the long distance running or biking.
Awesome. Good stuff, guys. We always love getting questions from our fans, but we're going to go ahead and move into some, we like to do we like to do some lightning round stuff. So I knowing John, I think he's probably gone back and watched a few episodes. So he's already knowing what's coming. So, so John, let's first, what's your goalball number?
Number
Your
4
jersey number.
USA, number 4 on USA, and number 8 on the Michigan Omega.
All right. Love it. Love it. All right. We all have a favorite post-match or post-training treat. What's your poison?
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. Love it. You got a favorite music genre or a favorite band?
Yeah, Led Zeppelin, classic rock, definitely number 1.
All right. I love hearing that, man. I love me some Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. I'm a guitarist, so I love
Awesome.
love Led Zeppelin. Dogs or cats? Wait,
cats.
whoa, wait. Hang on. Let's rewind here for a second, man. You play the trumpet?
You got it. I played all through school, even marched in high school, and I was a marcher at Western Michigan University.
Oh wow, that's really cool. So you still play on a regular basis, or
not very regular.
not very
Usually
regular.
pull it out now and then just to run through some tunes. That's about it.
Okay, cool. All right, so I did not know that about you. That's awesome. That's really cool. All right, so you're a cat guy.
You got it.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Ooh, coffee.
Coffee. How do you take it?
Black and cold if I can get it.
You like an iced coffee kind of guy.
Yep.
All right. Nice. I can probably guess this since I know your post-training treat, but chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate for sure.
That's usually pretty an easy one. Are you I mean, sometimes our work dictates this, but do you like to sleep in, or you stay up, or are you a get up early kind of guy?
I am an early morning riser.
All right, love it. Sparkling or plain water?
Ooh, plain.
Plain. Okay. All right.
Yeah, room temperature if I can get it. Actually.
Really, room temperature. Okay, so you like iced coffee and room temperature water.
Yep.
All right, that's different, man. I like it though. All right. You got a favorite non-goalball activity, or just any non-goalball hobby that, like, when you got to turn your brain off of sport or anything, like what is it for you?
Yeah, the number one is reading science and science fiction. Listening to audiobooks or listening to some magazines that are like Discover Magazine, National Geographic, that kind of stuff.
Okay. You got a what's your favorite science fiction?
Oh man, I like those really epic long stuff. So there's an author named Neil Stevenson that writes some really good stuff, and anything that's older like Asimov or Heinlein. I've pretty much read everything there.
All right. Nice. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. And then finally, I like to I want to give you just an opportunity to give any special shout outs. I know we've mentioned a few of your big influences, but like any special shout outs that you want to give to people, anyone in particular that has really supported you over the years, or any sponsors or anything along those lines. I want you to give them some love, man. Give them some love.
Yeah, I'll repeat a couple and I'll add a couple in. So the Michigan Blind Athletic Association and Western Michigan University definitely wouldn't be here without those ones. USABA's support over the years, especially with improving the quality and intensity of the tournaments that get run, has been huge. My family, especially my wife Jessica, her parents Alan and Rebecca, driving me around, taking care of George when we need him to, and then some of the younger family members too for driving me around and supporting me. So Amanda and Joey and Sarah and Andrew, and friends like Ryan, who can just step in and donate $50 at the drop of a pin when I post my first post about the 100 Days to Tokyo challenge.
Awesome.
Pretty special people.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Hey, I mean, it's one of those things, like, it's the people that you surround yourself with are so vital to all of our all of our success. So that's one of the big reasons why I love hearing all the shout outs that our guests give. But I got one final question, and I like to ask it of all my guests, and that is, how do you, John Kusku, how do you want to be remembered?
Well, I have benefited so much from the people that came before me that showed me how I could be. And so I want to be remembered in that same way from the people who come behind me. I want them to remember me as a guy who wasn't afraid to say I'm blind. I wasn't afraid to use my cane. I wasn't afraid to go to the airport by myself and figure out how to get to the gate. That's how I want to be remembered. Awesome.
I love it. You're one of those, look, man, just from talking to you a little bit, you've got a fan. I'm a fanboy, and I know you've got a lot of fans out there, and I think your dream is gonna come true, man. So you guys, our guest today has been John Kusku, one of your 6 men who are going to be representing Team USA in Tokyo at the Paralympics coming up in August. So you guys, we are going to, like I said before, we're going to be having a lot more of our Goalball athletes on between now and the Paralympics. John actually mentioned it. Currently, we're running a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign called 100 Days Till Tokyo. We started it back in late May. You may have seen us post about it on social media. You've probably seen us mention it in the newsletter. I think our newsletter just went out this morning, actually, mentioning it.
Right.
Yep. So if you guys want to learn more about what we're doing with the 100 Days to Tokyo, visit usaba.donordrive.com. You can also find out more information just on our social media pages, and all of that. But guys, as always, keep an eye out on our social media channels: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all of that. Sign up for the newsletter, especially as we're getting closer and closer to the Paralympics coming up in a few weeks. Guys, we're gonna just so much stuff going on, and I'm just getting more and more fired up, especially after I talk to great guys like John Kusku here. John, congratulations on making the Goalball team that's going to be representing all of us, here in Tokyo in a few weeks. Your second, this will be your second Paralympics, and hey man, let's go. Let's turn that silver medal from 2016. Let's turn that into gold, man. How about it?
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. All right, you guys. We'll be back next week sometime. We'll be letting you know in the next couple of days who our guest will be and what time. But it'll be the same Facebook page here at USABA. So next week we'll be back with another Goalball athlete. So stay tuned, and we will let you know who that'll be and what time in the next couple of days. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I've been your host, Kyle Coon. This has been The Blind Spot, where we chat with blind athletes reaching excellence. Thank you, Mr. John Kusku, and good luck to everybody else out there. Have a good one, guys.